talk about today. There's so much to get to, so much going on in politics. Did you guys hear the speech that Trump gave about Miriam Adelson and how she spent $100 million on his campaign, so she's going to get whatever she wants from him for Israel? She already got the embassy moved to Jerusalem in his first term. Now she got, the ceasefire agreement, which we don't know all the details of that yet, but we'll see when it all comes out. Trump says, it's a done deal, but we don't know yet. And how about the bailout for Argentina? Are there any farmers that watch my show? Trump bails out Argentina to the tune of $20 billion. And I mean, the reason he says he's doing it is because it's a great place, Argentina. It's a great, it's the most beautiful country in the world. It's the greatest country in the world, besides the U.S., of course. America first, except for Israel. They're first usually, and then Argentina, because we bailed out Argentina, but we didn't bail out the American farmer. And then Argentina's president Javier Milei turns around and cuts the taxes for exports, soybean exports to China, immediately undercutting the American farmer. Also, what do you think about the Ellisons buying TikTok and, the U.S. government forcing the sale of TikTok to the Ellisons, who are right-wing Zionists, who are Israel first, not America first? What do we think about that? Does anybody have any questions for me? Anna Shalpotu. I don't know what that means, but thanks for the question. Hi, how are you? The Jason Groove. Is that what that says? Said hi. It's your girl, buddy. Hi. Girl, it's your girl, Abby. Hi. Hi, hello, everybody. So, what are we talking about today? We're talking about Trump's speech about Miriam Adelson, and she gave $100 million to his campaign. But the most important thing, and this is especially for you Gen Zers there, what do you think about the government forcing the sale of TikTok, and the people who are buying TikTok are right-wing Zionists who are Israel first, and they're going to change the algorithm so anybody who says anything bad against Israel on TikTok is going to get banned? It's about my bed. Okay. It's almost my bedtime, Abby. Yeah, I know. It's late. I have a Mark Gonzalez, hi. The Jason Groove, hi again. Is that what that says? Mark Gonzalez, get out. Okay, get out. Anybody have any questions about the sale of TikTok to the Ellison family, who already own Paramount, MTV, BET? I mean, they're controlling a lot of the traditional media in the country. Yo, my boy, Lil Snooze Twerp. How are you? I'm good. How are you? Soldier? Is that Soldier Boy? I love me some Soldier Boy. That's, a throwback to 2010 when I lived in Africa, worked there. I was listening to Soldier Boy all the time. I got school tomorrow. I don't get that long. Well, I'm glad you're on here. If you're still in school, I'm glad you're paying attention to some politics. Big Pen, I like it, I'm gay. Are you gay? Mark Gonzalez, no, I'm not gay, I'm heterosexual. Sorry. Maddox, hi, Phil. Hi, how are you? Mark Gonzalez, say I'm gay. Maddox, hi, Phil, said hi. Anna Shell, Potu video. Oh, Anna, are you Filipino? I have school tomorrow. No. Biciengo? What's Biciengo? Tell me. Heather, hi. Mr. Clean, what is one thing you want to say to the world? One thing I want to say to the world is that liberal democracy needs to survive, and we need to stop voting for dictators all over the world. Hungary, Russia, and the US, Donald Trump is a dictator. I'm Hav, Jason, Ellie, hi. Nathal, Curasier. Where you from, cuh? I'm originally from New York. I currently split my time between Colorado and the Philippines. I'm basically a traveler. I like to, I used to work in Chile, I worked in Africa, I worked in Ecuador. In my younger years, I was a whitewater raft guide, which brought me all around the world. Nathu, Sapper. Does that mean you're a Marine? Ben Mar? Huh. Madden, hi Phil, I'm subscribing, thank you. I need more subscribers. How would I be able to work around the world like you? Well, Herman Rojas, a good way to do it is IT. How I originally did it was I was a whitewater raft guide, so I learned that skill in college. I had to pay for college myself, so I got a job in the summer. Originally, working as basically a helper at a whitewater raft company, painting stuff and doing side work, and they trained me as a guide, and I became a guide. And then I spent several years traveling around the world as a whitewater guide, and then when I finished my college degree, I became a international teacher, and I worked for an international teaching school where I taught in Chile. It was a traveling school. Chile, Africa, pay was terrible, but they paid for all my expenses to travel around the world. Are you 100 years old? Nope, not 100 years old. I am in my 50s though. I'm getting up there. If you want more subscribers, change stream to subscribers. You say you're gay? I'm not gay, unfortunately. Was it fun? It was the best experience in the world. It opened up my mind. Too many people in the US don't travel. That's why they're so closed-minded and they vote for a guy like Trump. I really appreciate you. My mom died last week and you're helping. I'm so sorry. My mom died in 2021 during COVID. I don't think I'll ever get over it. My mom raised me and my 4 brothers and sisters by herself. She was the strongest person in the world that I've ever known. And I'm so sorry your mom died. And I hope you could find somebody to replace her. I've recently, speak to Horo Mar, stop it. Thanks for last night. My fingers still stink. Sorry about you, Mom. Yeah, thank you so much. I'll never be over it, but I've dealt with it now. My mom was the closest person to me whenever I had problems. I called my mom. For years, she was basically all I had. My brothers and sisters, but if you have brothers and sisters, you know how it is. They have their own lives. Mark Gonzalez, just throwing out a bunch of words. Old man Spanks from way back. Yep, I'm an old man. I'm so sorry for your mom lost. Thank you so much. Joel Del Haro, Joe DeHaro. Where are you from, Joel? The U.S.? Cadelyn Thomas, my bulge hurts. Yeah, ever since I was a kid, um, gay guys have always pursued me, so I'm not surprised. Thanks for last night, by the way. There's another one. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas early, Anthony Gibson. Christmas is always a fun time of year. Um, I remember when I was a kid, we used to get secondhand gifts for Christmas, and even that, we still loved it. I know a lot of people think that's crazy. People are much more spoiled these days than back in the 80s. I'm from Costa Rica. Come to my house. I've been to Costa Rica several times, actually. I love Costa Rica. The only thing about Costa Rica is it got really expensive. That's why I started traveling to Southeast Asia on my furlough. I get furloughed every year from my job, so that's why I travel. Kenneth, weirdo, piss off. If I'm subbed, will you say you're gay? SpinCycle News. Mark Gonzalez. No, I try not to lie. I'm not gay. You suckered, sick as a joke. Anthony Gibson, that's lovely. Who wins in LeBron James versus Martin Luther King? Martin Luther King, although I do love basketball, but my favorite player, I grew up in New York, so I'm a Knicks fan. My favorite player right now is probably Jalen Brunson. Yeah, it's too expensive even for us. Yeah, I mean, I love Costa Rica. I love their environmental policies there, but it's gotten crazy expensive, and I think it's mostly because of Westerners like me buying a lot of the houses and stuff like that. But you should try, if you can, if you have the means, try coming to Southeast Asia. It's really nice and cheap to live there, especially temporarily. But I already subbed. Sorry, Mark. You like little boys? No, I don't like little boys. I mean, I've mentored plenty of little boys as a teacher, but I don't like little boys, and I think the way you're saying it, that's more like Mike Johnson style, the Speaker of the House. The Bears are the best team in the NFL right now. I'm a Giants fan, the Bears. But, I mean, I did watch the highlights of the Bears game the other day. They were pretty good. I already subbed. Kenneth thinks I'm a weirdo. Yeah, I'll take that mantle. I might be a weirdo. Compared to a lot of people in the US, I'm probably a weirdo. I like, to be kind. I'm empathetic to people. I'm not mean-spirited like most people in rural America where I live. I live in Colorado, by the way. Thanks for giving us Saquon. Yeah, you think I was happy about that, but have you seen what's his name? Their new halfback. He's pretty damn good. I can't remember his name right now. He's not Saquon, let's face it, but the Eagles, they're kind of falling off a little this season. I mean, that was a good game against the Giants and the Eagles, but the Eagles definitely have some issues. They have great players. I think they have coaching issues. Thank you. I have pretty eyes. I won nicest eyes in high school. This Saturday. What's this Saturday? Is it a football game? I'm also an alumni of West Virginia University, so I love the West Virginia Mountaineers. They're terrible this year, but they're never that great. Mark Gonzalez want a glizzy? Probably not. I don't know what that is, but Free South Park Mexican. I don't know what that means, but I love South Park, the show. I've been watching it since it started. I don't know if you guys watch my channel. I throw in some clips in some of my videos where I could get away with it without getting copyright infringements. Of course I support trans rights. Yes, I think trans people, deserve to live just like anybody else, just like I support gay rights and, Latino rights. I think, Latinos we should make a pathway for people, for easier pathway for people to get citizenship and work in the U.S. Not only that do we need them, but it's what the U.S. is built on. My grandparents were immigrants from Italy in the 1920s, and my grandfather worked in, cotton fields when he first got here, and then he was a bartender in New York, and he retired as a janitor for a high school. But back then he was able, when he died, it turned out he had like 12 different bank accounts and saved nearly $1 million. I mean, I didn't see any of that, but still, he as a janitor, you can't do that these days. Not with the cost of rent and just the cost of living in the U.S. is insane. Do you support Luciferian rights? I support everybody's rights. If you are, the Church of Satan, sure, I support your rights. I'm not really that religious, so. Why are the roosters awake? Well, actually, I'm in the Philippines right now, so I have roosters here. Yes, my grandparents were legal immigrants, but back then there was a route to legal immigration. Now there's, it's a 10 to 20 year wait to legal immigration. And that's on purpose. So the Republicans and the Democrats, the neoliberals, can make it an issue every election to get people to vote for it, basically. No, South Asia hasn't gotten that expensive because there's not many foreigners here, and I don't know the exact reason why it's not that expensive. Labor is cheap, food is getting more expensive, but like housing, I rent a house here the half a year that I'm here, that I'm on furlough from my job. And it costs about $150 a month US to rent a house here. Where in the US, my rent is 10 times that probably. Depends, the last few years I've been living in my RV, and even that I have to pay 4 or 5 times as much of that for rent. But the main reason I live in the RV is so when I leave to come to Asia, or sometimes Philippines, I've spent time in Thailand too, Malaysia. But when I leave to come here, I could just store my RV, and then, I mean, it's a pretty good lifestyle. It's, not for everybody, but nowadays, these 3 are considered Americans. What 3? Mark Gonzalez, please, and screw. GT, wow. Ooh, a Nazi in chat. Gay Bowser. Do you have COVID? You don't look well. Nope. I'm 100% healthy. Maybe it's the lighting or something, or, I'm old. The Irish, the Italians, and the Jews, yeah, they emigrated here, or to the U.S. the same time my grandparents did. And they were all, racist again towards each other. My grandfather was a great man in a lot of ways, but he was, he didn't like Irish people, he didn't like black people, but I grew up in a different era. And just the way I grew up in deep poverty, I just learned to empathize with every group. The glizzy is a hot dog and brew, bro. And shrew. And shrew, bro. Okay. Mars, shut up, locks. I don't know what that means. So what do you guys think about TikTok? Come on, I know you guys are on TikTok. I want to know what you think about that. Anyone? What do you think about TikTok being taken over by right-wing Zionists? You know what Zionists are? Zionists are they're people who want the state of Israel. I mean, it's a general term, but the state of Israel to take over the West Bank, Gaza, southern Lebanon, Syria, parts of Syria. Who's behind you? Nobody. I think it's good, the buyout of TikTok. 67, 67, 67, 67. Okay. What's this live about? Just joined. Well, my channel's about politics, so I'm talking about TikTok being taken over or bought out by the Ellison and the Murdochs, right-wing Zionists who want to see, Israel commit genocide, wipe out the Palestinian people probably, and they're going to use those platforms as propaganda platforms. TikTok is not for me. Yeah, I prefer YouTube too, but I do spend some time on TikTok. I'm older, so I have a little more attention span than you Gen Zers or some of you Gen Zers. What do you think? What skill and job are in demand in 2026? Well, it depends what country you're in, but I still think, and I know a lot of people say this, but I have my CSS and HTML licenses for coding, and I think there's a lot of work in that still, but maybe the more advanced stuff than I have, because AI could do most of that stuff now. But I think if I was in the US and I was young right now, I would get into solar stuff. Even though Trump's against it, he's going to be dead in a few years, and solar is the way. Solar and wind energy is the way the world is going. Like, everybody's surpassing us now, so we're going to have to either get with the program, get rid of these old fuckers. I know I'm old, but like Trump and even Biden, and get some young people in charge that see the way the wind is blowing. How many energy pills do you need, bro? I already gave you 100. Thanks, man. And batteries. Trump is like he's 80. He's 80 and he's actually bald and, disgusting looking, but he wears bronzer every day and a wig. Energy storage, yeah, that's a good industry to get into. Batteries, lithium. People get too caught up in politics now, and they believe, oh, sorry, I missed that. Everybody be nice. Yeah, everybody's not nice. Unfortunately, people on the internet could say whatever they want, stuff they wouldn't say to your face, because they know they'd get their teeth knocked out. I get it all the time on my channel, these right-wing guys from rural America calling me all kinds of names that they wouldn't call me if they saw me in a bar, I guarantee you. What's up, dude? Hey, what's up? Stacy H. It's my sister's name, Stacy, except she spells it C-I-E. I already gave you 100 energy pills. How much do you need? 100 more. What? At least he doesn't have dementia. Talking about me or Trump? You can have a good backwoods politics philosophy, get to the point of hunting and killing others, or hang in there, man. I'll get better. It'll get better. Hi Siri to channel. When you was 1 subscriber, I make it 12 to subscribe. I'm watching every single video. Oh, thank you so much. I like everything for your video, and they're every single video I like, and then I share. Oh man, I love you. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna give you 200. Thanks, man. I'm sad. Why are you sad? May I ask? Ask what? Can you yodel? Yodel-hoo. Do you think someday we could meet and make Hamburger Helper together? I used to live off that shit back in the day. Hamburger Helper. I haven't had that in so long. Who data? Joe Biden? Yeah, I mean, I'm a Bernie Sanders guy, to tell you the truth. I think, populism is the way to go right now, just not Trump populism. Trump 2028, he'll be dead by then. My mom passed. Sorry, I love. Like I said earlier, my mom passed in 2021, and you never really get over your mom passing. This a special bond that most people have between their mom and, not everybody. Alex has donated $400. Alex Sharm. No, you didn't. If you did, thanks. Donated to who? What is a Bobby doing without Nachiro? What is that? Anime or something? I'm not that into anime, but I do love, old school anime, like Ninja Scroll is like one of my favorite movies ever. There you hear my New York accent coming out. I think Trump has done some good stuff for the U.S. though. Yeah, I think he's done a couple good things, but do you think him rounding up people like the Nazi Gestapo ICE is really helping the country, rounding up all the immigrant workers? Now we have nobody to do a lot of the work, so, and also his tariffs are driving up prices. I don't know if you're the person who buys stuff for your household or pays the rent or the electric bill, but do you think him giving $20 billion to Argentina to bail out that country when he's really just bailing out the hedge fund and rest of friends of his that have put a lot of money into Argentina? That's the real reason he's doing. Look it up. That's racist. Well, like you said, they're eating the cats. Yeah. Those poor Haitians. Where's the jump pad? 40 billion? Is he giving 40 billion now to Argentina? Shut up, Caffrey. I don't know who that is. Did someone say racist? You're eating dogs? Funny you mention that. There is people who still eat dogs here in the Philippines. You are the poor one, not Asians. Yeah, I didn't say Asians were poor. I just said, it's cheaper to live here. And unfortunately, there is a lot of poor people in this part of Asia, which, I try and help out as much as I can. They doubled it, the money to Argentina. Too late, bro. I'm done. Okay, sorry, Mar Gonzalez. Look like you're about to play a final concert of Menendez and Avenged Sevenfold. Thanks. See you in 5 minutes. Mar. Laugh out loud. Joke of the day. I wish Charlie Kirk could be president. I don't know about Charlie Kirk. He was kind of a right-wing Christian nut, if you ask me. I know it's against the law to say anything bad about him now. That's the problem. Trump is making speech against the law, which is against the First Amendment, against the whole founding. The reason we found our country, if you guys haven't studied history, is because the King of England was doing that to us. That's why the Constitution was written. Wow, that is terrible. He was a good man. How dare you, Mara Gonzalez? Kids and a wife. I'm cooked. Thanks a lot, Shrek. Okay, Mar, you seem to be a little obsessed with me, buddy. Delete. Fit check. Fitness check. Don't know what that means. Back to TikTok. I know some of you guys think it's a good thing that TikTok's being bought out by these right-wing Zionist billionaires who already own most of traditional media. But if you guys study history, that's how the Nazis, with their propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, were able to take control of Germany. And you know what they did after that, I'm sure. Facts. Yeah, those are facts. Yeah, Charlie Kirk should be alive. I mean, that was terrible. And I don't know, have you seen Candace Owens? She seems to think it was the Israel that did it, or that somehow, got that kid to do it who's not talking at all. Love weed, tobacco, booze, guns, gonzo, freedom, and hate the government. YouTube. Yeah, I love weed too. I used to shoot guns and stuff when I was younger. The thrill kind of lost, but I used to hunt and stuff like that. I don't have anything against guns or weed. I think alcohol is bad for you, but of course, I drink very rarely. I used to drink, obviously, when I was in my 20s, a lot more. It was mostly to go to bars and meet girls and stuff like that. I'm gonna get my revenge, just you wait. Okay. You smoke weed? Not as much as I used to. I do edibles more. I live in Colorado when I'm home, so it's legal. I worry about my lungs now more, but yeah, I used to, when I was in my 20s and 30s, a raft guide. It's part of the whitewater raft guide culture. I think alcohol is much worse for your health, yeah, than like smoking or eating weed. I think the science, proves that. So many leftists in the chat, including the owner. I'm more of a progressive, but yeah, I have empathy. I'm at your door. Okay. You're a river guide? Yeah, ex-river guide. And I used to be like a semi-professional kayaker. I traveled around the world kayaking and stuff, and I didn't make any money doing it, but it was it shaped who I am. It's super fun, and doing stuff like that, before you're about to paddle off a waterfall, you forget all your problems. You can't think of anything but be in the moment, and I think people these days need more of that. Do you drink alcohol? Not much anymore. I used to drink a bit, but I was never drank as much as some of my friends. I didn't like the way it made me feel the next day, but yeah, I'll have a drink every now and again. My favorite drink used to be gin and tonics. You got on the Ocoee? Awesome. I've paddled the Ocoee many times. Yeah, I like the Ocoee. I like all the paddling in the southeast. The Chioa is one of my favorites there. The green used to be till it changed. That's kayak, and I've never guided on the Ocoee, but I originally went out to college in Colorado, and that's where I learned to guide on the Arkansas River. I've guided on the Gali and the New, and I've guided in Ecuador on the Hatanyaku, Africa on the White Nile before it was dammed. Better check your house, Mara Gonzalez. Okay, man, just take it easy. Awesome. Yeah, I've been to Costa Rica many times, but I never guided there. I never even kayaked there. I mean, many times. I've been there like 4 times, but each time it was kind of a beach trip in the off season from whitewater. I tried to go in Sarapiquay, I think it was, the Sarapiquay River, but it wasn't running high enough. My buddy's guiding on the Zambezi River now. Yeah, I have many friends that guided there. I've never made it there, but it looks awesome. It's kind of hard to travel from Uganda to Zambezi, or it was, and I was there in 2010 for a whole winter. It was awesome. I just snorted a big old line of melatonin. Yeah, and you're going to sleep. That's supposed to help you sleep. I never tried it. Um, your friend lives in Uganda? I love Uganda. It's a great place. Um, we used to, do our shuttles on boaters, which are motorcycles, carrying our kayak and our paddle on the back of a motorcycle down these bumpy dirt roads. And the locals are so friendly and nice, and also it's extremely inexpensive to live there. You could live pretty good on a raft guide salary there, like what if you're a raft guide in the U.S. My first 3 years raft guiding, I lived in a tent in Colorado. I want to come to your country for a living. What's the easiest and cheapest way? You're talking about the U.S.? The U.S., I would wait until the Trump regime is out of there. It's almost impossible to get there now unless you have a highly skilled profession, or maybe if you're a nurse or something in healthcare. Other than that, you're not going to get a visa. I snort salt. Okay. And Sour Patch Kid dust. Separately, the Zambezi might get dammed up in the future. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Those developing countries, they see the hydropower as a way to get cheap energy, and these big companies, big corporations from Europe and the U.S. come in and build these big hydropower projects. They did it in 2011, the year after I was there. They did it on the White Nile, and they dammed up the first day of a 2-day section, and had some of the best rapids in the world on it. And it makes me sad just to think about that those rapids are under a lake now. Nah, joking. Hudada. Okay. What's the topic? Well, we're talking about right-wing Zionists buying TikTok, but we're talking about basically anything now. Do you play video games? I used to be a Madden freak video game player, and back when I was a kid, you guys know I am old, so 8-bit Nintendo was my favorite, The Legend of Zelda and stuff like that. But I don't have time for many video games anymore, between my YouTube channel and my regular job and traveling. Oh, the woke right. The woke right. Fuck them. Yeah, fuck the right. Are you married? No, I'm not married. I'm single, but I do have a fiance. I've never been married. I've managed to stay single over the years. I've been in many relationships, but I think maybe because my dad left when I was 2 years old and left my mom with 5 kids, he just disappeared. It wasn't like he said, I'm leaving. He just left one day for the store and never came back, and it really, fucked my brain mentally about getting married. Good for you. Oh, same. My dad is gone. Yeah, luckily I had a really strong mother who I just, said died in 2021. And my grandparents, my Italian grandfather lived kind of close. And, he was kind of like my father figure, even though he wasn't there all the time. Yeah, it sucks not having a dad. I feel for you. when I was a teacher, I had kids that didn't have fathers, and I tried to mentor them as the best I could. I mean, a mother could do a lot for a kid, but for a boy especially, there's nothing that could replace having a father. I feel, I feel like my life might have been, although I don't have any regrets of how my life has gone. But as far as like, getting an education and stuff, I think it would have been better with a father. What kind of books have you read? Oh yeah. I'm reading this right now. I'm rereading it. Kurt Vonnegut, Slapstick. Awesome book. I love Vonnegut. I just read The Emerald Mile, which is about a speed run and the history of the Grand Canyon, which is nonfiction, which is awesome. I recommend that. Kevin Fedarko. I've read so many books. I'm about to reread The Alchemist. I can't remember who the author is, but that book I read in my early 20s, and it definitely changed my perspective on life. I read the Lord of the Rings series like 3 times. World War Z I read when I was in Africa. I thought that was a great book, much better than the movie, which I kind of enjoyed the movie too. Yeah, I've read hundreds of books. I don't like biographies that much, and I, used to be more fiction. Now I probably split between nonfiction and fiction. But Christopher Moore is somebody I read a lot. If you know who that is, that author. Hunter S. Thompson, I read, Fear and Loathing when I was coming of age, and that book really meant something to me. Yeah, tons of books. Of course, I read the classics. Catcher in the Rye. Moby Dick is a great book. It's a great metaphor of life. A Tale of Two Cities, the Dickens classics. I mean, just about anything, except that I really don't read like trash love novels and stuff like that. Anyway, guys, I gotta call it a day for this live. Thanks all you guys for watching. My water's running right now. I gotta go turn it off. Hi, nice. I'm gonna try and do a live stream on Saturday mornings from now on, starting in a few weeks. I'm actually moving here right now, so to another place, so I'm kind of busy, but I'm gonna do these live streams on Saturday mornings if you guys want to join in, and go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you're interested in politics. If you're not, that's fine. You could just come to my live streams and I'll talk to you about anything. You Gen Z people, if you want advice from an older guy, I'm happy to give it. And I'll see you guys next time.